Hello all and welcome to another video by Harpy Cloud Solutions. Today we'll be creating an Azure Virtual Desktop from a golden image. In the previous video that can be found in this YouTube channel, I had created a golden image from a Windows virtual machine. So basically, I created a Windows 11 Enterprise 23H2 virtual machine, and then in it, I installed a couple of applications. Then I ran Sysprep to generalize the VM, and then from it, I captured it, created an image, and stored it in an Azure Compute Gallery. So right now, what we're going to do is to create an Azure Virtual Desktop from that image that is stored in the Compute Gallery. So let's begin. We're going to start by going to Azure Virtual Desktop on Azure Portal. Click on Azure Virtual Desktop. Click on Create a Host Pool. And then we're going to put it in the Learn Resource group. I'm just going to give it a name, Tute AVD Host Pool. And location will be Australia East. And desktop would be my preferred app group. Host pool type, I'm just going to do this for personal. And then assignment type will be direct. Next session host, I'm going to say yes to adding a virtual machine. The prefix will be to AVD IMG. All right. So it's going to be an Azure virtual machine, Australia East, and Zone 1. Security type will be trusted launch virtual machine. The security type has to be the same security type with the image that was generated, of which I use trusted launch virtual machines. And the next thing will be to select an image. And like I said, we're using an existing image. So when you click on select an image, you're going to click on shared images. All right. So click on that. And this is the one that was created, the Windows 11 Enterprise 23H2. Click on that. And the size that was used and that I want to use is 4 cores, 16 gig RAM. And let's see. It's DV3, yes, this one. So select that. Number of VMs, I want 1, just for the purpose of time. If I create 2 to take more time to create, but the point about this is that we want to create, session hosts that would have the same application, the same image that was earlier created. That's basically using the golden image. So whether you select 1 or 2 or 10, it doesn't matter. All right. So then standard HDD, disable this because it's just test. For virtual network, I'll just use this. Leave that as it is. And no. So this, I'll use Microsoft Entra ID. For those who have an on-premise domain controller, you can basically select your Active Directory and then you would specify your domain unit, whatever it is. You just click here, specify it. But for here, I'm using the Microsoft Entra ID. And I do not want to enroll in Tunes at this point. I'm just going to give the VM an account name. I'm going to give this VM animation account name and a password. Okay, password. All right. Let me try that password again. All right, so next. So we have to create a workspace. I'm just going to create a new one, give it a name, to AVD ING workspace. Okay, next. Next, you can tag the resource. You can just say purpose tutorial. And next, you review, and once the validation passes, you create. So let's wait for that. All right, so now we click on create, and this is going to take some minutes to create. So I'm going to pause the video here and come back once the creation of the host pool and its session host is done. So the host pool is done creating. Let's go to the resource. Right, so we have the host pool that we created. Click on this. And then we have our virtual machine. Now that we have our virtual machine, or you might want to call it a session host in our desired host pool, we are going to access it now. So there are different ways to access this session host that's assigned to a user. It's either you access it through the remote desktop client. That's this one right here. You have to subscribe and enter your details. And the details that you're entering is not the virtual machine administrator account details, but the details of the user who has been assigned to the application group of this host pool. I'll show you what I'm talking about. But it's either you're using this remote desktop client or you're actually using the remote desktop the web client, not the desktop client. All right. So what I meant about the application group is you might already know, but an AVD requires an application group and users assigned to that application group. So here is an application group that created with my host pool, and I had gone and assigned myself to the application group. So here it is. So let's just go back. So when you go to the remote desktop client, just because I'm already signed in here, it's going to automatically sign me into my session host. So this is the workspace that I created earlier, if you remember. So now let us go into this box. Now, I forgot to do something which is really important, and that's to actually assign this session host to that user which I've granted access. All right, so it's going assign, click OK. All right, that's great. So let's come back here and let's click on this again. All right, so all right, so now we've entered into the AVD, so we're just going to wait for it to load because this is basically a new machine. The box is ready, so just click on next, 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 and accept. All right, so now you are literally inside your session host. Okay, so remember in the previous video where I created the golden image, I had configured a VM that was running on a Windows 11 Enterprise 23H2. Okay, and then I also installed applications like Visual Studio Code and Python on it. So when I was creating this session host, I didn't have to specify, you know, the OS as you normally do. All I had to do was just to go and select that golden image that I had already created. So let's, start doing the check. The first thing we'll do is to confirm that it's actually Windows 11 Enterprise 23H2. So go to About Your PC, scroll down, you see it's actually Windows 11 Enterprise 23H2. The next thing you want to do is to check for Visual Studio Code, because that was one of the applications that was, you know, downloaded into the VM that was used to create the image. And we can see that we have Visual Studio Code here. So after looking at the Visual Studio Code, another application that was downloaded was Python. So let's just confirm that that's installed. All right, so you see that we also have the ability to run Python commands on this system because it was pre-installed in the image. Anyways, I hope this was helpful. Um, if you need to see how the golden image was created from scratch, you can basically go to the my YouTube channel and look for the video that says create a golden image for Azure Virtual Desktop, and then to show you how to create a golden image before actually using that image to create an AVD. I hope you got a lot out of this and it was helpful for you. See you next time. Don't forget to like, leave a comment, and subscribe. Thank you.